Second.
Claudia? Can you hear me now?
She muted?
How about?
She's muted at the moment.
Claudia, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to give you a quick reminder that since we can't see you, we're going to need an audible yay or nay when we vote, okay?
Why can't you
Why
see?
can't you see?
Because it just says your name.
Oh, you mean I dressed up for nothing?
Nothing.
You can
But
turn
I look so good.
do it.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, we are ready to start. Asia? Call this meeting to order.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America.
The republic for which it stands, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. We do have some additions to the agenda. 4.09, Lindy Robertson will be giving a presentation for student representative. 5.05, approve community flyers for posting. 5.06, amendment to annual organizational resolution 2025-01. May I have a motion?
I move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any public input for items on the agenda? Thank you. Okay, consent agenda, approved work session meetings for August 11th, 2025. We need to do it separately or together?
I think do it separate. 'cause
Okay,
it's two
let's do it
items.
separate. Okay, 2 items. We do have the work session meetings from August 11th.
I'll approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Passes. 2.02, approve regular board meeting minutes from August 11th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Everybody in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we have some information there. And then we're on to enrollment.
I'll skip enrollment and let Mr. Doctor talk first.
Okay, or nothing.
Could hear nothing. We need to talk louder.
Okay,
I'll
that
talk.
was all just approvals and disapprovals. Our first thing will be Dr. Dockery will be our first presentation for the night.
Thank you. Reporting for the high school, we are enrollment, we're sitting at 215 right now. Realistically, we know we won't be at probably 215 in a few weeks. We have some that have been enrolled, just haven't showed up. So we're still working on finding where our leavers have gone. I would like to announce that Lindy Robertson is our new student representative of the school board. She will be here any second. She's coming from work. And that has become because Rowdy is our new ASB president. We started our year back by having a team building activity that Sheena will tell you the office put together, but it was really Lorraine and Sheena, called the Amazing Race. And we worked with businesses in and around Bandon where they had to find clues or other puzzles they had to solve together. I felt it was fun to watch. I don't know how the teachers felt, but I think it was a good time. We followed that the next day with a PD called Same Summit, Different Trails. We focused on rigor and supportive student experiences aligned with state, district, and campus level systems, and reinforced our commitment to each other to intentional alignment and practices. We reviewed our portrait of a graduate that we created last year and introduced it to some of our new staff members, outlining the skills, competencies, and qualities that we expect our students to use in the post-high school world. And then we reviewed our data, our end-of-year data. Our NUIAS map data shows that our reading scores began in the 60th percentile and ended in the 61st percentile, which fell a little bit below national average and is a flat line for student growth and achievement. Our math data declined from the 66th percentile to the 63rd percentile at the end of year. Again, we discussed what instructional adjustments we need to make as a faculty. Our SBAC scores, science scores, held steady with the state average of 32%, slightly above the state. Again, but we're looking at continued science support. Our emphasis for the year will be grit and rigor, ensuring that we all remain focused on student growth, both academic and personal. We talked about differentiation, intentional lesson planning. We use the data as a roadmap, not as a gotcha, just as a where we're going, where we're beginning, and what we're heading towards. And continue that alignment with our portrait of a graduate. We reviewed the staff handbook. It was a comprehensive review, just for the alignment with current laws, reflecting values, and protecting teachers and the institution. Our average daily attendance for last year was 93.77. Our goal is 95, so well, I'm relatively happy with it. We're still going to aim for 95 or higher. We had a freshman orientation. I was hoping Lindy was going to talk about.
Dr. Doherty, that's a quick question just on testing before.
Yes,
Yeah, so SBAC, I think it was a science test you mentioned. So that starts in high school, is that right?
yes.
Okay, does it start like at freshman level? I'm
11th
not
grade.
familiar with what the test. Oh, it's 11.
So we start science testing in 5th grade, we test again in 8th grade, and then they test at the high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of heard the acronym before, just figured I'd ask you a question on it.
Oh, they love their acronyms.
We do. Teaching in the military, we're notorious.
Is that the one they take in middle school as well, or?
So- Well, yeah, I can give kind of so English and math start in 3rd grade. Go all the way through, and we do English and math every year through 8th grade.
Okay.
And then they test once at the high school. Science is only 5th and 8th, and then once in the high school.
Thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely.
Will we have time for Lindy to give this presentation, or do you want me to
Oh,
do?
for school
Okay,
night, bro.
then I'll defer to Lindy for the freshman.
Yeah, yeah,
presentation.
All right. Do we have any questions for Dr. Dockery?
In your discussion with the faculty about the decline in the math scores, did it yield any positive changes going forward for the year?
We look for trends, and we're trying to isolate trends and patterns. Certainly not having a certified teacher for the better part of actually the whole year, was definitely a contributing factor. We do have a veteran math teacher that moved here from Colorado. So we're pretty optimistic having 2 veteran, fully certified math teachers will yield positive results for us at the end of.
That's
We're
positive.
going to see beginning of year testing here shortly.
Yeah. And then the other comment that I heard today from Ellen Howard, and she said I was free to pass it on, because she's the sort of the creator of the modern speech program, is that she felt that it had come through beautifully with the changes, and that she just felt really positive about the fact that it is got all the positives that it always has. You've got a real teacher in there teaching it who seems to be on top of the program and is using the materials that have returned to the classroom and that she has brought in as well. So
Was that for
nice
speech?
job. That was for the speech,
Okay.
competing and non-competing speech team. Because that was a big public concern, and I think you've done a beautiful job getting that corral
We tried.
for the start of the new year. Yeah, nice.
We asked 5 teachers in district if they'd be interested due to their already heavy workload. We had a part-time teacher that volunteered to step up and take that role. So we're glad to keep it going for the kids that just want the speech skills, but also for the individual students that want to compete.
Okay, anything else?
I have a question about the speech classes. Now, is speech an elective? Or is it an extracurricular activity, or both?
Both.
But it is a class.
It is an elective class as well as an extracurricular club if you will for the competition team.
All right, on to Ms. Armisen.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
First, so just because I've heard comments about not being able to hear, I don't want to volunteer you for anything. Maybe presenting in front might help project your voice. Is that okay? I don't mean to suggest something you're not okay with.
Oh, Becky to go to
the
People gladly go to the front.
A lot of people here who will attest to the fact that it's pretty rare that I can't be heard. However, it's also the first week of school, and so I have that little germ factory thing going. So I'll stand away from all the humans. Okay, so basically following in a similar format, the staff welcome and professional development, our theme at Harbor Lights is I'm so glad you're here. And a part of what we did was we acknowledged the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room right now at the middle school is it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for kids. It doesn't feel good for adults. And we really want to address that head on. So I'll get to how we're gonna do that, but I want to make sure everyone that enters our building feels seen and heard and valued for who they are and safe in our space. We reviewed the commitment to addressing culture concerns. So one of the things I brought up to staff was that we're not gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. Because if we pretend it doesn't exist, it just perpetuates. And so we're just really kind of facing head on the fact that we've been through some hard times as a district. And our community knows, and our staff knows, and our kids feel it. And so we want to address that really directly. We reviewed the non-negotiables. These are not new for Harbor Lights. Our non-negotiables are the same 3 each and every year. And the number one most important is we treat kids well. We treat them well when they're not doing their job. We treat them well when they're not producing work or being respectful. We treat them well when we are holding them accountable for behavior. At the end of the day, even when we're doing the hard things, we treat kids well. We assume positive intent, and that's hard when times are hard. And so we talked about really being mindful of the messages that we tell ourselves, the stories that we have in our minds about where things are coming from, why they're happening. And then we have fun. If we're not having fun, it doesn't feel good to come to work, but we also want to acknowledge the reality of that. Every minute of every day isn't going to be fun. Many minutes of every day might not be fun, but we should be able to find joy. We should be able to find that glimmer. And hopefully, as we continue to address head on some of the challenges, we will find more glimmers and we will have a little bit more joy. I used John Gordon's neutralizing negativity toolkit. If you're familiar with his work with the energy bus, that was kind of a format for how we're going to do this culture shift back to where we once were. And so we talk about the elephant in the room. We talk about acknowledging the hard and doing it with respect and with dignity and with honesty. If we don't acknowledge it, we can't fix it. And so we're going to work together on that.
Could you be more specific about what the harm is? I don't understand.
So I'm not sure if you're aware, but we've been through some hard times here as a district just recently with some negotiations that didn't feel super respectful to our teachers and that impacted our community as a learning community. And so as we come back in this year, we just really want to focus on that and repair those relationships that felt like they had been harmed.
Good, good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, because that's what I've heard. So I wanted to make sure you weren't talking about something else.
Oh, no,
Okay, thank you.
that is the elephant in our room.
Right.
Yep.
We weren't talking about describing the elephant, so thank you for.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're also talking with that neutralizing negativity toolkit about the rules of engagement. How are we going to work together? And we need to come back to a place where the we is greater than the me. As a district, as a building, as a staff, we need to come together and focus on how we can collectively grow in this, grow together, and keep kids at the focus of what we're doing. Because nobody gets into education to not be a positive impact on students. We've got, there's an acronym that goes along with it. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but truth and love helps us grow. And so again, acknowledging the hard, whatever that may be, with love and dignity for one another, respecting our relationships with one another and with our students, making sure that we have some rules of engagement. So acknowledging the hard, we had a staff meeting that was really hard as we came back, and there were big emotions involved. We're going to come back together and co-develop rules of engagement for how we're going to work in a staff meeting. And for those of you who know me well, you know I'm kind of a nerd about the brain. And so we know that when we get into an emotional state, our lid flips. And that's where we're not really able to engage our brains because our emotions have taken charge. It happens with kids, it happens with adults, and we know that. And so we're going to come back together, work together to create expectations in the building, and then move forward with those. But if I come in and say, this is what we're doing, it's not going to be nearly as successful as if I say, what do we need as a group? And so that's going to be the work that we do at our next meeting.
So it sounds like what you need is safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that we prioritize for kids. We know if kids don't feel safe, they can't do their best work. And now we need to come together as a building and create an environment that feels safe for kids. And again,
For yourself.
yeah,
All the teachers too, they need to feel safe.
no, absolutely.
Yeah,
And so that's the work that I'll be doing with staff so that they then can do that work with students.
right.
But staff needs to feel comfortable and they need to feel heard. And I will tell you, I've received feedback that even with the best of intentions in trying to hear them, I didn't. And we've talked one-on-one and in small groups about whether it's my ability to hear, whether it's their comfort with sharing their real truth. And I'm not sure where the disconnect happened, but it happened. And it doesn't really matter where it happened. What matters is that we address it and move forward in a way that honors the adults in the space so they can do the work for the kids in the space. And so that's part of the work that we're doing as well. We're looking at those rigorous and supportive student experiences, right? We're here for kids. One of the things that we've implemented this year, it's part of a 3-year initiative, is math pathways that allow our students that don't need remedial help, but really need a push to have access to higher level math. And so we did a presentation, I believe it was in November. Was it November?
Yes.
November of last year, about where we were in that process. And it was a multi-year process. A group of adult teachers in the district came together, created pathways, and then we slowly implemented them. And so at Harbor Lights, it started with allowing for advancement. So if you are a 7th grade student, but you really have already mastered 7th grade math and you need a bigger push, we were able to advance you into an 8th grade math class. And we did that using data. We used our NAWIA data, which is a nationally normed screener that we do throughout the district. We used our Smarter Balance data, which is that we call it the SBAC. It's that state test. But we also needed to take input from teachers because we know that test scores are just that. It's a snapshot in time of how a kid did on a day. But the teachers are the ones who really can tell us who can be successful with that. So last year, we expanded our advancement opportunities to include 5th and 6th grade, as well as 7th and 8th. And this year, we're in our final year of rolling out the pathways process, where we have our 8th graders taking Algebra 1. Due to a number of reasons, they're taking it here at the high school. Some of those students are taking it for high school credit. It's something that we have offered for years. Apparently, it was standard before my time. But right now we are offering that, but we also know that not every child is ready for that. We know that we've got some deficits to make up. I'm just going to put it out there. COVID didn't help us. And we have some kids that have some foundational skills that are missing. And so we also have another pathway for students who might need that help. And so one of our teachers here, Mr. Taylor, is teaching a class called Particular Topics in Algebra. It gives them an introduction that will then allow them to be more successful their 9th grade year so that they can do that work.
I'm concerned, I understand everything you're saying is great. And I'm a member of the public. And I just want to say that I wonder if you're doing anything to redress the concerns that were raised, all the emotional concerns, or is it just that forget that, it's reality, we're just going to move forward and love each other?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. Are you asking about math or are we going back to the culture piece?
The cultural concerns, the issues that they're.
Oh, we can't just say we're going to love each other and get forward. That won't actually move us forward. So we are going to be doing the work.
Katie?
I don't know exactly what it'll look like.
Katie, can I ask that you let her finish her presentation, please?
Yes, I can, but I think these questions are very relevant.
I understand, but this is Becky's time right now.
I might have some answers that are coming up a little bit later.
Okay, thank
All right. All right. So we're also doing some intentional alignment, right? K-12. One of the things that we also know, I spent a few years down at the elementary school, moved into the middle school. Now the middle and high school are sharing quite a bit by way of teachers for electives and core subjects. And so Dr. Dockery and I have worked together with the district leadership team in order to make that happen. And I will tell you, change is hard. It's hard for everyone. And so we are doing some work. We're talking about expectations, not just of students, but of the adults in the room. Two of the things that created a pretty big emotional response was getting accurate and timely attendance and getting 2 grades in the grade book. And while I see those as challenges, absolutely, I also see them as potential celebrations, because as we get better at those things consistently, we're going to develop more trust also with our community. I can tell you inaccurate attendance leads to that phone call that no mama wants to hear when they know they dropped their child off at school. And then they get the call saying, hi, I was just wondering why Courtney isn't at school today. And that mama heart drops into your guts because you're thinking, Courtney is at school today. Thank you very much. And so making sure that we are accurate and timely with those things so that we can do the most basic pieces of the expectation of the public is going to help build trust. And when it comes to the grades, I know different families handle things differently, but I will tell you as a school, we have an expectation that our student athletes are student first and athlete second. And we have an expectation that they're going to be maintaining adequate marks. And so getting those grades in allows a student who may have not perhaps done so well on an assessment to build that grade back up, who maybe was absent and missed something, or golly gee, can you imagine a middle schooler not turning in an assignment, right? They can dig themselves out of the hole that a zero would create for them and get themselves back eligible. I also know families hold their children often responsible and they check those grades. And so we want to make sure that we are timely in updating that, both for our students and for our families. We're working on aligning the schedules across the board. When we have as many shared teachers as we have, oh man, I will tell you, I did scheduling at the elementary school and I thought, oh, all the puzzle pieces fit and it's a challenge. And then I got to the middle school and it's like it's a completely different game. It is like I was playing checkers and then I got like 4-dimensional chess or something. It is just not the same. And now that we are sharing as much as we are, we had some challenges with aligning the schedules. And some of that had to do with late changes in what was available and cohort fluctuation. So a cohort is a group of students in a grade level. And I will tell you, when we left in June, our 8th grade was projected to be 34 students. We didn't have a schedule yet. We weren't sure what it was going to look like. 34 is a pretty big group. I've done it before. It's not the easiest, but it's doable. And then when we came back in August and started making those schedules, we had a couple students that had moved out of the area. And so we were down to 31, which felt super manageable. And as we're coming together and we're making schedules, 8th grade was going to be a single group of students because 31 makes sense. We get our schedules together. Dr. Dockery and his team worked on the high school schedule, got it down to us. We worked, and then we came together and worked, and then we brought in other eyeballs and worked. And then registration happened and 7 new 8th grade students registered in Bandon School District that had not been there previously. And so our wonderful plans of 31 turned into 38 and we had to go back to the table. And we had to figure out how we're going to address this because 38 in a single classroom with a single teacher is not the best for kids. And we know that. And so we went back. We were not able to redo the entire schedule between 2 buildings to address that, but we were able to select a teacher that was able to support. So in 2 of our 8th grade classes, we have 2 certified teachers with a breakout space available so that we can have smaller groups for independent work or for small group work. And then in one of our cohorts, we have an aide pushed in also with a breakout space that's really close by. Probably not ideal, but it is what we are able to do right now. And then we are looking at the second semester schedules here. Well, maybe not super soon. It is only the 4th day of school, but we will be coming together to look at that. We've had dialogue with the union. We're going to bring them in for input and hopefully we can get some creative eyeballs together and find a different solution to what we have right now. And I'm confident we're going to be able to make that happen. I will tell you, we've had communication struggles, do that flipped brain thing, right? Big emotions. And so we're just going to acknowledge that. I will tell you, I have received feedback that maybe isn't my favorite feedback in the world either. Like, gosh, I don't know why you're not listening to me. And, oh, you listened to the wrong part of what I was saying. And like I said it, but it wasn't an immediate want or need. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing with my staff is being a lot more intentional about not thinking that I've heard what they have to say, but double checking and reinforcing that that understanding is really there. And again, with the best of intentions, sometimes things still kind of go awry. And that has really happened. My hope is that the people that I have built relationships with for 4 years at the middle school will be able to rebuild trust with me and know that my intentions are good, even if sometimes the execution does not feel that way on their part. And so that's part of the work that we're doing as well. But I gotta tell you, I talk a little bit about the challenges and then I talk a little more about the challenges. We do have some celebrations. We have great people who are really focused on making this a great year. I don't want it to feel like doom and gloom, but I do want to acknowledge the hard. And so I want you to know we have people who are absolutely dedicated to doing what's best for kids. We have people who are making a conscious decision to stay positive, to assume positive intent, and to bring that into their classrooms. And for that, I am super grateful. And my final celebration is kids are here. It's why we're here. It absolutely brightens my day. I'm starting my day every day with a walkabout where I just pop in and out of classrooms first period. And it is probably my favorite part of the day because I get to see teachers doing what teachers do and students doing what students do and really ground myself in remembering exactly why we're here. And that's our kids. So we also had some review of our professional learning communities. So a professional learning community is an opportunity for professionals, that'd be the teachers, to come together and learn together. So we started that work 2 years ago, where we just started looking at data. That wasn't something that had been done as a group to my knowledge previously. And so we started with me presenting data and us talking about it. Last year, we moved into this professional learning community format where we did a brief overview as a whole group. And then I said, go with data, look at it. What do you notice? What should we celebrate and what needs work? And I gave time. And man, you give teachers time, they can do great things. And they did. So they were able to help identify some things. One of the great things that came out of that, and I didn't ask permission, so I'm not going to give credit where it's due, but I will tell you one of our teachers just upon herself decided to apply for a grant through our ESD specific to writing because we noticed that that was an area across all levels that could impact every subject level. And then we worked together to put that into our professional development calendar so that they had dedicated time because one of the barriers to that work was teachers having to work outside their contract. And if you know a teacher, you know 8 to 4 is not usually the hours that they keep. And having to do that outside, they had money to get time carded. It wasn't about the money, but some of them have small children and they don't have childcare. Some of them have family obligations. And so we work together to put that into our professional development calendar. And then we've continued that work this year with dedicated time in our professional development calendar because we know when we do that work, it is going to show improvement in our data, specifically with writing. You know, we talk about, you know, math and science have a great connection and ELA and social studies have a great connection. But the fact is right now in education, writing is interspersed through everything. When you're taking your math test for the state, you don't just need to know how to do the calculations. You have to be able to explain your process of thinking, explain how you got the answer, why you got the answer. And so that ability to write clearly is going to really impact, I think, across all of our subjects. Oh man, I already talked about all that. I will tell you, when we look at our data, we did a data summary at the end of the school year. So we didn't review it this year. We're going to wait until we have new data. But we've got some things that we can really celebrate. I would like to say we look at growth as much. I will tell you, if we look just at achievement, it's not nearly as impressive as if we look at growth. Our achievement is pretty good in comparison to the state, but our growth is pretty incredible when I look at it. And one of our big highlights are math spring growth. So that is from the fall test to the spring test, from September to May. Our 8th grade math students showed growth at the 81st percentile, which means they showed growth better than 81% of this nationally normed group on this assessment. And it shows that the hard work that we're putting into instruction is working. Our English language arts growth in all 3, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade was above the 50th percentile, which means in language arts, we are growing better than the majority of those who are tested. And when I look at that, the growth is going to lead to achievement that continues to improve. So I was just very, very impressed with that. Our focus this year, again, is continuing that work, continuing to look at the data, continuing to give teachers the time to dig deep. And it takes time to then look at that data, see the trends you're noticing, and then what are you going to do about it? And so often we throw the data out there, but we don't have time to plan or adjust. And so that time has been planned into our calendar as well, for them to take the data and then make the necessary adjustments to meet the needs that we see through the data. I think that's it. It was a lot. Any questions before I sit?
Well, I'm kind of stuck on something. You're very positive. This may not sound so. Why has there been a problem among the teachers of turning in regular attendance and grade checks? That's always been such a standard of education.
It is. I will tell you, I'm not sure. And so part of what we're doing is we have some accountability measures in place. And it was hard for teachers to hear. It's not different than what we've had in the past, but we've got some reminders, both verbal and written. And then I have a plan to meet with anybody who's not able to meet that, to figure out what kind of support is needed. Now, historically, it has felt like overwhelmed. There's a lot to do and not a lot of time. My hope is that with the calendar that we've adopted that allows some additional time for teachers to prep and grade, as well as the work that we're doing in our professional learning communities that necessitates kind of using some of that time for planning as well to determine where we're going, that's going to help alleviate that feeling of overwhelm. I also know when you're in a middle school, it's crazy. Kind of from 8:05 when they walk in the door until 3:25 when we send them on home to their parents. There's a lot going on. And when you're taking attendance 6 times a day, Sally might look a lot like Susie from behind, and we just really need to hone what we're doing and make sure that we're being accurate with that. Teachers have been very open to when we have to make the phone call, like I need your attendance, right? But then when we don't have accuracy with that, it's the secretaries that bear the burden, because they're the ones making those safety calls, and they're the ones that are feeling the panic and sometimes the anger. And so that's just part of, I'm not sure other than overwhelm where that would come from, but yeah. Anything else?
Good, thank you.
I stopped by on the way, on the first days with all the kids. It was like a concert. The kids were just there. They were rocking and rolling, just heads just,
Buzzing with
it was
everything.
awesome. I got the privilege of.
That's
stepping
my
in. You
biggest
guys opened the door.
celebration. Kids are
It was
here.
fantastic. So I was like, this is why we're here.
All right,
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
always a pleasure to follow Becky Armistead.
Sorry, Courtney.
My report will not be as long.
He's weighing on any non-specific beverage at the next staff house. Volunteering.
Wait until after my report to say, please come up here. All right, so our school opening, I mean, everybody here knows that each school looks different from each other, right? So registration for the elementary school is, we can never assume a child is returning. Last year we had 3 teachers for 3rd grade. And one of my secretaries made individual calls to all of those families last year to see if they plan to return, because we wanted to plan ahead if we needed an additional 4th grade teacher for this year. So the phone calls were made. We had 1 or 2 students saying they were leaving, and then registration started. And I'm sorry, my child's calling me. Registration started, and like 5 of those kids that we thought would be returning in 4th grade moved away. It happens in Bandon. We'd already hired a wonderful new 4th grade teacher. And then 2 days into registration, we had 7 new 4th graders register. So it's just what it is. Elementary school, we have, I think the last count was 15 or 17 new kids to Ocean Crest this year. Our class last year, the 4th grade group, was almost 60 kids, and they moved up to 5th grade. So Becky has them now. But our kindergarten group last year, there were 38 kids in the entire kindergarten group. So when you're losing a big class and then cycling in a small class, we're down like 20 kids. I mean, it's the lowest enrollment for Ocean Crest that it's my 10th year here. It's the lowest we've had since I've been here. But it doesn't stop the work that we do with kids. Honestly, I think we could all say smaller class sizes in elementary school is what's best for kids. So it seems to be working out. Amanda Tolis is here and she is getting the benefits of having a third, fourth grade teacher. So those classes are 20 kids, which is what they had last year too. So registration, like I said, we can't assume that all kids are coming to school. So Juanita, our attendance secretary, she made individual phone calls and seesaw messages to every family that had registered within our registration week, because we want to ensure that we have accurate class lists. So a big shout out to Juanita for that. Chalk the Walk. This was our second annual Chalk the Walk. Miss Prasky brought this idea to me last year, and we opened it up to the community. We put chalk out the day before school, and one of our board members came, and lots of community members and families and kids came out, and they just wrote encouraging things on the sidewalk for our kids. I had parents coming up and just saying, this is so cool. I had other staff say, this is a great thing. And I'm like, not my idea, but we just keep doing it. It doesn't take much effort to put chalk out.
All the way on to 11th Street, it's helped on our.
Yeah, it is. And up the sidewalk from the playground too. So we have some artists, Pokemon, like full images out there. It was really great. And it'll stay there until it rains, because chalk doesn't come off too easily. A big shout out to Advanced Health. This is our third year. We've been able to use our grant to provide free school supplies for all elementary students. We only ask that they provide backpacks and a lunchbox if they bring lunch from home. What it does is it starts the year off where every kid has the same school supplies. It's nobody saying, well, where did you get yours? Why is yours name brand and mine's not? We eliminate all of that. And the fund allows us to continue to purchase school supplies throughout the year. So if a family brings supplies, sometimes kids have certain things they like. Sometimes, extra Clorox wipes and Kleenexes are always helpful, but that's a big thing that we're just so thankful we get to use that grant for. And then during in-service week, we had a science of reading training. This is actually a year-long project. So if you sat on the board last year, this was a grant that I applied for with the Oregon Department of Education for literacy instruction. We got the grant, and Catherine, she lives in Portland. She works with Core Learning. That is the company that took the bid from Oregon Department of Education. She is coming in person. She came in service week, and we'll have her 3 more times throughout the school year. And it's really teaching, and I say us because I attended the training and I will attend all of them with my teachers. It is, how do you best teach a young child how to read? And if you're not an educator in this room, it's really difficult. It is teaching them something from the very basics. So from kindergarten, they are laying the foundation. And you want learning to look fun, but it also has to be effective. And that's what the science of reading, it helps. It takes from the field of education, neuroscience, and psychology. And it's the best ways to teach a child how to read. So we sat in that training together, and it was a day-long training, and my teachers were such great sports. And when we left, we were like, oh crap, I wasn't doing that like I probably should have. But also like with the enthusiasm of we're going to do this. We're going to give our kids the best that they deserve. And that's what you get from my teachers at Ocean Crest. That is our year-long focus is, we've had our new math curriculum. And so we've had trainings for math the last 2 years. And so now we're moving into a focus of literacy. And like I said, it'll be a year long. She's going to come in. She'll be here 2 days every time she visits. So she'll come in on a Thursday and she will do some observations in the classrooms. She'll go in and model the teaching in the classrooms for our teachers. And then the next day will be the professional development. And it'll all be targeted on teacher needs. So we have topics we came up with at our first training, and then it'll be a staff survey. So if a grade level feels like they want to focus on small group instruction and this other grade level wants to focus on whole group instruction, she's going to be able to tailor her professional development to that, which is really great. We're not going to assume we know what they need. We just know that we need effective instruction. And the best part about it is that it's all based on our reading curriculum we already have. So it's not something new we're trying to come up with. It is how can we best use our state adopted approved curriculum that we have to teach reading to our kids. So I'm excited about it. And my impressions after the meeting was, oh yeah, I got thumbs up from my teachers over here. So I think that we're just happy to have this resource. And I'm just so thankful for ODE to have all this money to give us for this. We have, I already mentioned, we have our new 4th grade teacher to help with the large class sizes. And then life skills is back in our building. So I know that was part of conversations last year as well. We have 8 life skills students in Ocean Crest. 5 of them are kindergarten, 2 are 1st grade, and 1 is a 3rd grader. And typically life skills, previously when it was in our building, Bannon had about 3 students K4 that were life skills students, and the majority of the other students were from Port Orford. And so 3 years ago, we moved the program to Port Orford because the need was larger there. We had some families not feel comfortable about putting their child on a bus to Port Orford, and because of that, the families chose other avenues for education for their child, and it didn't sit well with me. It was, these are our Bannon kids, they deserve to be served. The superintendent felt the same way. We were able to get the program. It was a conversation we started at the beginning of last school year. And we were able to get the program back in our building. Selena Minkler, who is our veteran special education teacher, moved into that position with some of her support staff from her program. And it's the 4th day of school, and it's a big group of young students, and it's going to get better and easier every day. And I'd say that for any classroom in the elementary school. So that's all that I have. Do you have any questions for me?
On that one literacy grant you mentioned, so it sounds like part of what happens is like the next time the person comes in, you kind of check in and see like what progress has been made since last time you guys met. Is that kind of what it's what's on it?
Kind of, yeah. So 1 day of training is not enough for a teacher to like change the whole practice. And that was part of our conversation too, as a team. After the trainings, grade levels broke off together to work, then they came back, and then we wrapped up at the end. And really what it is we're giving them, so our next training is in October 10th. So we're giving teachers that window, and I'll send the survey out to you guys in a couple weeks. So they will have had enough time to be in their room to say, this is realistic, I could do this, or I need more help with this. And then that will be, then they fill the survey out to say what their need is for the next time she comes to visit. So it's definitely not a, have you done this? I'm checking it off the list. It's, you've had a little exposure, you've tried it in your practice, what else do you need? And that's what's great about this is we work together. It's not this like program that's in place for the whole year. It's, we will meet and talk about what specific needs we have each time she comes, before she comes.
So, and it sounds like this is more like teaching reading, just concept, like as a baseline skill versus being like intervention focused for kids that are struggling. Do they get that?
Actually, we get both.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a great question. If you could hear him, he was asking if it was about just intervention based or if it was just teaching reading, and it's both. And again, because we get to tailor this professional development, like my reading specialist, that's what she wants to focus on. Daisy Dockery, our ELL teacher, she was at the training too, and she's been able to work with her on how she can use this to support her multilingual learners. So that's the best part about this, is that she will tailor it to our needs. Yeah, which are diverse.
Thank you so much, Courtney. 4.05, Shauna Schmier.
So opening of school was very different this year than it has been. We didn't have an opening speaker like we've had, or a breakfast. We didn't have the money for either. So usually an open speaker is between 5,000 and 7,000. We usually find a grant that pays the majority of it, and there just wasn't anything this year to be able to do that. So that was unfortunate, because I like that we all get together and be able to do that to start the year off. Some of the other things that I think that we talked about, as the principals talked about, I asked when they did the report this time to really talk from the heart, to be able to talk about not just our successes, but our struggles, because we like to hide sometimes our struggles, and like to present to the crowd all the things that we do well. And that leads to a misconception sometimes, because when we come back around and say, these are the things we need to do, people say, well, why? All these wonderful things are happening, because we don't really tell the truth. And it isn't that we want to mislead. We just don't always want to air our dirty laundry, or tell you where we might be struggling, or tell you where we're not being successful. And some of the things that I can relate to that personally is that I probably didn't make every choice that was perfect. I probably did make mistakes. I know I make mistakes. I'm human. I've made mistakes. I can't say that the choices that we made are those that we wanted to hurt people or the intention was to hurt people. The intention was when we had needs, we sat down, we talked about it, and we said, if we move this component, it will help with this component. If this component moves, we'll help with this component. The part that we missed is we didn't bring in some of the people that could speak the loudest for us. And that was a lesson that I needed to learn. So I take on the responsibility that I didn't ask the right people when we were making the decisions. That now when we're talking to the union, which we had a great conversation the other night, and I hope that we continue to have those conversations of how we can outline things better. Not as me or them or they, but as us. Because we need to do a better job. We need to figure out a way to move forward, to gain trust, to learn from our mistakes. And so some of the things that I keep hearing is that we need to cut administration. We're overstaffed in administration. We just have too many of them. Well, we have a principal in each building and a vice principal who does AD and VP and spends more hours than all of us together in this district at events. And then there's me. That's admin. Now, that's what's paid in the admin category. Then we want to talk about other positions like at one time, I think, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, I think they only had one business manager and maybe a part-time payroll clerk. When I got here, they had a business manager, a part-time payroll clerk, a secretary, and also a part-time individual, which was Sabrina, when I got here. What I added to was the listening to the business manager, trying to do business manager stuff and HR stuff and how much it's changed in 15 years. We added that payroll clerk who she took maternity leave. And then we tried to open it as a half-time position and nobody wanted it. So then we made it a full-time position and we got the current person in there right now. So we made that a full-time person. So we added a 0.5 there. When we talk about the TOSAs in each building, so the behavior interventionist in the middle school, that was something that we developed with a grant, the SIA grant, the student and improvement grant allowed us to look at right after COVID. They wanted everything to be about wellness of the child. So we had to look at attendance. We had to look at behavior referrals. That's where our nurses paid for. That is where our mental health counselors came from. That's why we're able to afford a mental health counselor in each building, which isn't something that most districts our size have at all. And then part of it was they wanted to do on-time graduation. So we paid for that person out of the SIA, and there was a little bit out of the, and I know education has a lot of acronyms. So the other part of it was the HSS is the high school success, and that's how we pay for our CTE teachers. And that's how we pay for some of our advisory pieces. So then we talk about maintenance. So when I first got here, we had a maintenance director who was also hammered down with all of the bond projects. And when we looked into when that wore him out, it was a lot to take on, a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure. We had timelines. We were navigating the unknown. We had a brand new business manager on top of that, and we had a bond committee. And what we wanted to do was be able to look at shifting some of the bond money into different projects because they were budgeted different than when I first got here. And then we looked to see if we could have a project manager for the bond. And at that time, it wasn't part of the bond, so we thought we couldn't. And then when we researched it more, after the maintenance director left, we opened the maintenance director position and nobody wanted it. I took it on, which I sucked at it. I will say that I am not good at it. That's not my forte. And the bond committee gave us the option to hire a part-time project manager. So we opened that one. We had 4 applicants for that one, but nothing for the maintenance piece. The committee, which I wasn't the one that selected the person off of the project manager. I took a step back because I knew one of the applicants. The committee chose the project manager. I left the maintenance open for a little bit longer, and then I begged the person that took the project manager part for the bond on, I begged and asked if they would take on the maintenance piece along with the project manager. So we have a position and a half that we put into one position. And so that's where the pay comes from, because I know there was questions on that. And so I'm very thankful that we have Brent here, because we were so out of compliance with fire issue stuff, with everyday stuff, with OSHA stuff, to where now we are slowly still trying to get there. But we are coming back to a strong point where the district isn't liable and it isn't unsafe. But at some point, a fire marshal didn't come in for a really long time, and we are so lucky in this district that they didn't. Because the things that we've had to do with that, and the teachers can attest because they don't like some of the things that we're making them do, and some of the things they have to take out of their classrooms that's not safe because it's fire hazard or pest problems, that we've done a lot of changes there. People talk about that I make 70, I think it was the last time it was 75% more than what Doug made. And I came into the district. I started higher than Doug, which is what usually happens. And I haven't got like big giant pay increases over the year. I think people wanted to know if I had the I think someone asked me if I got the pay raise the teachers did, because it is in my contract. I did not. I did not take the pay raise that the teachers got. My administrative team did not take the pay raises that the teachers got, because that is also in their contract. They took a lower rate. So now when we talk about that, we talk about cutting admin, but when you look at some of these admin here, they actually make less than the highest paid teacher now, and they work longer. So when we go to negotiate with them next year, we're going to have to raise them to where they're making what the teachers make, which causes not issues, but it's part of our budget restraints, right? We already have them. We've talked about some of them, but that's where the cost of things go up, right? We need to be able to be competitive, which I think is important. I think that what the teachers were asking for wasn't horrible. It was just stressful for us to try to figure out a way to be able to make that happen. I think that this year, the raise that they got, it puts them in the medium. I'm happy with it. I hope they're happy with it. I think the work that now comes with that is the understanding that all the districts in the state of Oregon were starting to hit that plateau, right? Because you have revenue that's not coming in at the same speed as expenses. And so we're going to have to come together and understand that we're going to have to shrink, and we're going to have to make cuts, and we're going to have to not have the great things that we might have had a year or 2 or 3 years ago. Class sizes are starting to get bigger, not ideal. So we're going to have to work through some of that. But those are things that we've been talking about. We've been talking about how we're going to have to take people that have endorsed areas that maybe haven't taught certain subjects for a really long time, and they're going to have to start teaching them, because we're going to shrink. We're going to get smaller. And we're going to continue to do that as our enrollment drops. And those are really hard things to understand. And I need to do a better job of communicating the reasons why. None of the changes we made was to retaliate against people. It wasn't that there was, and I can tell you that every single teacher in our district, except for 2, has a schedule change different this year than they did last year. Every single teacher but 2. Elementary can tell you that. They're teaching PE now because we absorbed that position. Middle school and high school always have schedule changes. They always teach something different depending on what our students need. We can't predict at enrollment time that we are going to get 7 more 8th graders. So you're right, it's not ideal. It's not ideal that we have a class of 38 at all. And we're already starting to have the conversations, and we're asking the union to come with us, because that was something they said, bring us along with it. Let us see your struggles. Let us maybe help. I like that. That feels better. Should we have done that? Yeah, maybe we should have opened the conversations. Maybe they could have came to the table sooner. Maybe they could have asked to come to the table. Maybe we could have asked. But I can't fix the past. All I can do is fix how to go forward.
I'm wondering if you could share, be so generous as to share one of the mistakes you thought you made and you
It's not communicating,
not
not openly communicating to them, not bringing them in on conversations.
Okay, that's a specific that you did.
Well, that's a big one. That is definitely one that I've heard from community members and I've heard from the union is bring us in, talk to us more.
And
Show us what you're talking
acknowledge
about.
you Didn't do that and we'll do that in the future.
Yeah, I want to do that in the future. Absolutely. I don't want to keep creating the same mistake. You don't learn or grow from that.
Just, it's looking at the elephant in the room and saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're actually going
Absolutely.
and touching the elephant and saying, oh, I thought this was something else and, you know, it wasn't. Okay,
We can always get better.
yeah. Okay, thank you for your generosity.
Do you have any questions? I don't have anything else to say. Do you have a question? AJ, did you have a question?
I would just like to say I'm on the bond committee and I take full responsibility for the bond happening. In the timeline that it did, we were told that we should not do it as fast as we did when we went to get it passed. However, we wanted the match and it was only available during that election. So we did not have a plan, you know, and our plan for the bus barn, our plan for the bus barn was we'll just get some good old boys and we'll just raise the roof. That's not the way things work in the world today. So
Used to. not anymore.
issue, but I think there were some pie in the sky ideas, there were some rose colored glasses. And we could have missed deadlines that would have lost us the bond entirely if we didn't have someone who was responsible for following those deadlines and someone with the type A personality that we have in there right now. So I would like to say we're very thankful for having someone be in charge of that bond. We should have had that from the beginning. We should have put that, you know, when we did this all, but we were all brand new and we were super excited and we needed to jump on it for that time. So
And our community backed us in.
oh, absolutely. And we've got a great bond committee. We're following it. We, you know, meet every 3 months and go over everything. But, you know, we were able to get opportunities because it was someone's job. And like I said, it should have been from the very beginning. But so I just wanted to expand on that bond because I am on the bond committee. We have great members of the bond committee and that has not always been the case. So we do have a very consistent group right now that's following the bond expenditures. Thank you. Anyone else? Good. Okay. Lindy, do you want to scooch in there?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindy. I will be your board representative for the 2025-2026 school year. As I'm sure you know, last week, Wednesday was our first day of school, which for high school is freshman orientation. And I have to say, it was my first orientation I got to help out with. And it was just amazing to see all the kids just kind of excited to be like, oh, I'm in high school now. And we got to do a lot of great things. We got to play a lot of games, such as the Amazing Race. We even got to play a scavenger hunt. We actually have quite a bit of new students to the freshman class, not just freshmen, but also all of high school. But it was just great seeing like the team building exercise kind of thing, everyone helping each other get used to like high school. And then something very exciting, I think, is our leadership class this year has 30 kids, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And something that's absolutely amazing that we're doing, at least this coming Friday, is we're actually hosting a tailgate out by the tennis courts to help support people to come to the games that are happening that day. And also our kind of plan right now is we're going to give all the high schoolers like a little ticket so then they can get a free meal. We're going to be doing burgers and we're going to be giving water and some chips. And so every high schooler will have their little ticket and they'll come up and they will get a free meal. As for those, sorry, what? Sorry.
And that's now that's happening between volleyball and football.
So it's going to be from 5:30 to around 6:45. So it's in there. Yes. And we're going to be having, again, burgers. And as for those who are either parents or they don't go to our school, they will pay a simple $8 to get just a little meal. And it can be, this is going to be kind of like a little fundraiser for the leadership class for future projects we want to do. Also, the leadership class, we are getting ready to host our first assembly on Friday. which we're excited for, seeing how it's going to go out and all of that. We're going to talk more about that this week and see how we want to play at it. As for the rest of the high school, we're actually getting ready for our first field trip tomorrow with Mr. Hatfield up to Crater Lake. We had, I believe it was 18 slots for students, and those quickly filled up. And so everyone is super excited, and a lot of people I can tell they're always like, what, that happened? Oh my gosh. But we're all very excited. We're going to leave tomorrow early in the morning and get back around, I believe, like 7 or 8. But other than that, that's basically what's happening up here at the high school.
Okay, we've got, Mr. Wright.
Poor guys got to follow that.
Right, that's not the problem. It's harder than falling back. Just athletics got started. I'm actually just gonna highlight, following what she was just saying, our Cranberry Week coming up. So at 4 o'clock, we have varsity volleyball. And then the idea is everyone's in there for volleyball. Then we all want you to come outside to the tailgate, support our, leadership class. And then after that, roll right into the football game. So those are really the things to highlight coming up. Really our sports season is just getting started. So I wish I had a whole lot more to give you, but like I said, we're just kicking off here right now. We do have a new athletic website that we'll be pushing out here in the next week or so. It's bandonathletics.com. And that's, like I said, still work in progress. So if you're at the parent meeting, I kind of highlighted a little bit already. But that's gonna be something we're pushing out. That's gonna be our whole new website. It's gonna have everything for middle school and high school and just a one-stop shop. Because before you have to have your middle school schedule, then you have to go to the OSA and get your high school schedule, and they're just kind of all over the places. That information's still gonna be there. But we're also now putting it all into one spot, where you can also find our streaming services for our games and everything else and then there like that. So that'll be getting pushed out here in the next week or so. So keep an eye out for it. And if you have any questions once it's out, definitely don't hesitate to give me a call. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Amanda.
So my information is not quite as exhilarating or fun. So I just wanted to start out by finding a few clarifying points from the presentation at the last board meeting involving our ending fund balance. So as described at the last month's board meeting, our ending fund balance has been steadily decreasing each year since ESSER or COVID relief funds were depleted in the 23-24 fiscal year. The ending fund balance decline over the years is related to revenues not keeping pace with increased cost of goods, as Shauna pointed out, but including payroll related services. But this is across the district as a whole. I just wanted to make sure to put that out there. This is not due to any negotiations that happened recently. It's not due to any particular group whatsoever. This is across the district as a whole. And it's nothing new. It's been a multi-year process. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that. I'm sure everyone does understand that fact, but I did want to put that out there to clarify that. The really exciting stuff, adult meal prices, as we had those on the annual organizational resolution. We had those listed at $3 for adults and $5, or $3 for breakfast and $5 for lunch for adults. Per ODE, we do need to change those. Our breakfast price is good, but our lunch price we need to have for adults is a minimum of $5.16. So we're moving that to $5.25, which is the amendment to the annual organizational resolution that you guys will that you all will see there. So that's just to be in line with the ODE minimum rate. And lastly, our auditors were on site last Friday, which was super fun. It's always fun to get things prepared for the on-site audit visit. There's just so much that goes into that. So much prep work, so much that they ask for. So it's actually kind of a relief to get that day over with. But it went really well. They were impressed with our organization, with our clear written policies and procedures that we have in place now. So that was in past years a finding in our audit that we don't have a clear separation of duties, which happens to most small schools because we all wear so many hats. It's just hard for, one person to do 3 different jobs and have that clear separation of duties from an audit standpoint. So it just seems a little more risky, but we've put procedures in place over the last couple of years that has mitigated that.
And we did not have that as a finding in our last audit, and I'm really hopeful we won't this year as well. So they were really pleased with all those procedures that we have in place. We have multiple requisition queues that have to be followed now that go into our financial software whenever a purchase requisition is put in, depending on what location the requisition goes in at. It goes through a multi-tiered requisition process that needs to be approved by multiple people, depending on the location. And then ultimately crosses over to the district office. It's approved by Shauna, it's approved by myself, and then it goes over to Connie, and Connie makes the magic happen. But they were pleased with the process. They actually walked through from step one of when the bill comes in, what do you do with it, how is it handled, and they walked through every single step. And they were pleased with what they saw there. They do, they're a little more unique from our previous auditor in the sense that they have full access to our financial software, all years of it. So they can go through and they can look up whatever they want. It's not an antiquated process of, send me this PDF from this year, send me this from this year. They can go in and they can look at whatever they want, and then they can request specific additional information, which actually takes a little bit of the workload off of us in that office, which is really nice. So they go through the purchase orders. They usually have us pull multiple paper purchase orders after going through the system. This year they had us pull over 105 to be exact, that Connie was so kind to help me with. They go through and they just make sure all of the coding is correct. They make sure that if it is a capital asset, it's recorded properly. It's on our capital asset depreciation schedule. And one good example of this was the Ocean Crest playground equipment. We did make one final payment in the 24-25 fiscal year, and that is when they requested. And probably because it was pulled from so many different sources, so many different funding sources.
Yes, it was.
Which was fantastic. The community came together as a whole and made that place happen. So that is one that they requested. And so we were able to show, it was pulled from, some from the Jogathon money, the check that came over from you guys. It was pulled from
Multiple grants.
many donation accounts in the grants, and then some from district funding. So we were able to walk through that, show them, where all those funding sources came into play. And they made sure that it was recorded properly, which it was. But that's just kind of an example of what our fun day last Friday was. So I believe that's all the information I have right now. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brent.
Well, I'd much rather hang out with than toilet land than in financial. land. Oh, that's Amanda. He's got the funner.
Thanks for that intro.
Yeah. So I don't have anything like that to share today, but so obviously my custodians and maintenance personnel have been busy during the summer getting everything back together, back going. Again, ready for the new year. They've done an excellent job of doing that. So we appreciate them for that. I've spent an exorbitant amount of time, as Shauna mentioned, going through our OSHA programs. We have 27 different programs ranging from ladder safety programs to fall protection to just goes on and on. So getting those updated, those have to be updated yearly. So we're getting that back together. And then as some of the teachers would know, we're going through SDS books, putting those, updating those. There's safety data sheets we have to have for every single chemical and anything we have, which is cleaning and everything like that. So putting those together, getting those updated, one for each building for all the products that we use. So that's been pretty big time, pretty big time consuming thing this summer. So we've obviously done quite a few projects around here to get things going again, ready for the new year. We put, let's see, just going through them. Like one of the biggest things obviously is the bus barn. So spent a lot of time going through that. We're within about 2 weeks of finishing that up and doing punch list items on that and getting those buses back in there. So yeah, So we're pretty happy about that. It's been a lengthy process. But yeah, in about 2 weeks or so, we'll be buttoning that up. And it's turned out very nice. Hopefully you guys can swing through there at some point and see the inside. It's pretty nice. You guys did a good job. Yeah, that was pretty much what I had. Nothing too exciting. Just keeping things running.
Thank you, Brent.
Oh, and the floors look amazing.
Thank
By
you.
the way, those suckers shined when I walked in the other day.
Yeah, the goal was to blind people in at the doors when they walk in from the sun.
Nice. No kids have been on this, I can tell.
Yep.
I think it's funny that it smells exactly the same way it smelled when I walked through the doors in 1994. I don't know what that smell is,
It's
but
hard to get it out.
it's exactly the same. All right, we are on to action items 5.01, pay the bills in the amount of $221,017.50. May I have a motion?
I move.
Second,
A second.
any discussion? Claudia, do you have your mic on?
Aye.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Hi.
Those opposed? Passes. Thank you. 5.02, first reading policy of the EFA local wellness. May I have a motion?
Sorry, just one quick question.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a line for intramural sports. It's like page 31 of our thing. Is it just we don't have intramural sports? Is that what's getting taken out?
Intramural sports, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say, oh yeah, intramural.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no.
I figured it's just curious.
I will tell you, I try not to, what was recommended when you do policy and procedure is that if it really has nothing to do with your district, don't have it in there.
Okay, cool.
So that was why we took it out, because we don't have that.
I don't have kids for that. Okay, may I have a motion?
I moved to accept that. It's a huge document and a lot of work.
Yes. May I have a second?
I'll say.
Thank you. Any
Sorry, Corey.
I guess that's where we would have put discussion, by the way. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. This is one of my favorites. Approve request for sixth grade outdoor school field trip.
She's talking? Yeah.
This is one of my favorite things.
We actually are here ahead of time though.
Yeah. I saw it and I'm like, this is for this meeting. Let's go.
Yes, I'm Nicole Koenig. I'm the middle school science teacher and I've been coordinating our outdoor school trip for sixth graders. It's been 5 trips now, so this will be our 6th year.
Over there, so you're getting all of that.
I'll try. Okay. We hope to go to the same location that we found last year at Siskiyou Field Institute out in Selma, Oregon. It was a fantastic experience. The staff was wonderful. The kids had a wonderful time. Us teachers had a great time. It was just really great balance of education and just a great experience and all that. So we hope to go back there. We like doing it in May, so we're gonna try to schedule something in May again. The bummer is that outdoor school funding got cut statewide this year. So they have changed the amount of maximum amount that we can be reimbursed, and they shared that number with us. And it is 78.45% of what we were reimbursed for last year. So it ends up being $32,960.84 is our max. Now, we do have the benefit of having currently 10 fewer students in the 6th grade than we did last year. I'm hoping that'll save us some money. I've looked at some other ways of cutting costs, like hopefully more volunteers, maybe fewer paid staff. I was considering maybe reaching out to the high school and seeing if we do have maybe not as many parents that can attend, seeing if you could maybe figure out a way of getting high school students to be some counselors. That's something other districts do. Possibly looking at shortening our trip. We did 4 days, 3 nights last year, which was really great. Seemed to be the general consensus that that was what kids and families liked, but maybe looking at shortening that to, 3 days and 2 nights. It does cut down on the amount of programming we can do since it's a 3-hour drive though. And then the provider is also looking at ways that they can reduce costs. So their per student amount might not be quite as much.
And then we are able to get some special requests for supplemental funding as well. So if we have, I know we have a couple life skills students in 6th grade, if we had any exceptional needs that we could request for some additional funding to support those individual students or small groups of students. We will be working with Amanda to stay within budget and yeah, so.
So one question, right?
Absolutely.
So what was the reduction in what we got last year versus what we did?
Yeah, so it was 78.45%. We were reimbursed $42,015.09 last year. And again, it is based on a per student thing and per adult and all that as well. So that goes in all that. The transportation generally doesn't change. We are pretty good on our supplies and everything. The snacks were a big hit, so probably spend some money on bringing some snacks. But other than the provider fees and the payroll for the staff that work to support it, those are the two main costs.
I think I missed if you said, when is this trip planned?
Yes, so we've been going in the spring. Generally, May seems to work well for us. The weather tends to be a little better, and it's a nice kind of wrap up the year event. So we're hoping to schedule. I mean, I've been talking to the coordinator there already, and she is really excited to have us back. They really liked our school. Lots of positive things to say.
It's a lot of effort that you put into this.
Yeah.
As a parent of a 6th grader who got to go last year, I went to your parent meetings and the things that you had to plan ahead for. I am just so very thankful for your time and effort to give these kids this opportunity.
I'm excited to do it. I mean, I had fun. I haven't gotten to go every year, but this was a really good place, and it was like, oh, I got my own. So, but yes, and hopefully going to the same place again. This will be our first year, hopefully going to the same place again, and that's been a lot of the. So hopefully cuts down on some of the extra work, knowing what to expect and already having all the resources.
And so far in advance. Excellent. Thank you so much. May I have a motion to approve the request for the field trip?
I move to approve.
I'll second. You'll second. Any discussion?
As a former victim, volunteer of this, they're fantastic.
It's a cool program. Some of our kids missed the opportunity when it was the dark times, but I'm glad the other kids get to go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. We now have the Stillwater Nursery internship flyer. Oh, yeah. So this is new-ish. We are approving flyers that get posted around the district. So we make sure we review everything that gets put up in the schools and we approve it. So we should have all of those here. Approve the Stillwater Nursery internship flyer.
I move we approve it.
I'll second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And then we also have two here from Bannock Community Youth Center. One for Welcome Kinder Camp, keep the momentum going. And one for Family Fun Game Night. So these will both be posted up in the school, right? Yeah.
We'll seesaw for the kinder camp.
Seesaw for Kinder Camp. Motion to approve.
Motion to.
All right.
I'll second that.
Second. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Yeah. And then the last thing is the amendment to the annual organizational resolution 2025-01. This is just what Amanda explained in her presentation, is that we are raising the price of adult lunch to $5.25 from $5. This is a result of ODE having a minimum amount we need to charge, and so that's being raised to that. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor? Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, where are we at? Okay, we are now into public comment for items not on the agenda. This is just a thing I'll read every time. Public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BDDH. Commenters should include their name. If speaking for an organization, the name of the organization. Spokesperson should be designated to represent a group with common purpose. There will be a 3-minute timer. I ask that when you hear that timer, you wrap it up. Commenter may offer objective criticism, but do want to remind you that we are not to hear comments regarding individuals, students or otherwise. Comments aimed at state and federally protected classes shall be prohibited. Anger, rudeness, ridicule, obscene or profane language, impatience, lack of respect for others. I know there's so much. Demonstrations in support or opposition to a speaker are not permitted. The board thanks all visitors for their presence and appreciate the input of community. So thank you. Thank you all who signed up. I know it is difficult for some, so I appreciate it.
You want me to run us high school?
Yes, please. First up, we have Rhonda Conrad.
Are you timing? Are you timing?
Oh, I'm sorry, AJ.
So I'll be looking at my phone. Don't think I'm rude. Just keeping you on track. I'll throw up the one finger for 1 minute.
I'm gonna read this, so I'm a little nervous.
You're great.
Good evening, members of the school administration, school board, superintendent, and members of the public. My name is Rhonda Conrad, and I'm a full-fledged lifelong cheer junkie and adherent to a senior here at Bandon High School. I stand before you today to request that Bandon School District, the school board, and the high school administration to reconsider bringing back the cheer program under the athletic program's control. I, along with others, do not understand why it was eliminated to begin with, other than being told it was because of funding and not being able to afford a coach or uniform. This brings up the question of what is the point of having the volunteer coaches application process? There are many people who have applied as volunteer coaches, I'm sure. I know I have applied as a volunteer coach across many sports, cheerleading being one of them. I have been background checked through the Bandon School District, certified by NFHS, OSAA, and OCCA through the 25-26 school year. Bandon High School should offer sideline cheer because it enhances school spirit, creates a more engaging game atmosphere, teaches valuable life skills like leadership and teamwork, provides opportunities for physical fitness and discipline, and fosters a stronger connection between students, athletes, and the wider community. It also offers additional scholarship opportunities to our youth through the OSAA, and if your coach is a member, as I am, also through the OCCA. High school spirit programs have the unique ability to connect a crowd to a game, a community to a school, and school groups to each other to feel a part of something bigger than just particular groups. As ambassadors for the school and representatives of student athletes, cheerleaders, rally students, alumni, and community members to attend games. In a study commissioned by Varsity Brands on School Spirit, 75% of students who self-report they have a lot of school pride in their school plan to come back to their school for special events after they graduate. Cheerleaders connect students to the game and players by physically interacting with them. Positive experiences turn reluctant students into engaged fans, and engaged fans can influence others to attend games. And what more could we possibly want than to fill our stands and the need to build a bigger stadium? When I initially heard about not having a cheer team, I reached out to the principals and was told it was due to funding. Okay, so you can't pay a coach. We can't pay for uniforms. Neither one's a problem. The team can fundraise for what sponsors don't cover. I have went out and I've gotten sponsors that will cover what we can't do. I have also volunteered to my services to coach from the beginning. I applied for the job last fall when it was open, but the other applicant was hired. I turned in a volunteer coach application at that time and never heard anything. I've seen the program struggle for 3 years. I've offered my help to the various coaches for the last 3 years. The last coach wasn't even told I was willing to help her. I'm told she is currently trying to get a program going at the middle school, which is a critical stepping stone to the high school program. My question to you is why? Why are we so stuck on eliminating cheer? It's not because of a lack of participation. It's not because of low turnout. You have kids that want to cheer, but you're stopping them. You have fewer kids turning out to play golf, and you're not eliminating those teams. And you're paying those coaches. So my question is why? Why eliminate the end of high school cheer? Why take away opportunities from those students? Why take away those potential scholarships? I'm asking you why. Give them, excuse me, give them those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kellogg?
Hi there, I'm Ann Kellogg. I'm a parent of a sixth grader and a fourth grader in this district. I'm speaking tonight out of the serious concerns that were brought up tonight for the state of our schools and the continued failure of certain board members and administration to support our teachers and staff. Their well-being directly impacts our children's education. When I heard that teachers had met to express no confidence in the superintendent, it only confirmed what many whisper privately. Our teachers feel unsupported, unheard, and in many cases retaliated against. Many are afraid to speak publicly because they have seen colleagues pushed out or reassigned. I don't blame them. Uprooting their families and livelihoods is no small thing. But the result is the same. Teachers no longer trust their leadership. As a physician, I spent years in leadership roles. In medicine, as in education, the best leaders are servant leaders. They share a common mission. They support the people on the ground up, your teachers and your staff. And they build policies and solutions directly with them. And they have fierce loyalty and empathy for the people they serve. Most importantly, they demonstrate moral conviction, doing what is right even when it's difficult, and that the operative word is doing, not saying words of doing it. Our teachers have been clear that they've not received that kind of leadership recently. And yet their concerns and our children's needs seem to matter little to too many at the top. Instead, we see conflicts of interest, broken bylaws, and inappropriate relationships that erode public trust. We are fully aware when board members are vacationing and going out partying with the superintendent, hiring decisions clouded by retaliation and nepotism, and policies bent to silence dissent. Our children's needs are only considered when it's conveniently aligned with your standing friendships, employed family members and friends, and alliances. It's not behavior of accountable leadership, and it's unacceptable. I take no pleasure in standing here. I know my children and I might face retaliation for speaking up, but character education doesn't come from a curriculum. It comes from seeing adults live with integrity. My children need to see me here, calling on all of you to do the right thing to restore the trust, support our teachers, and put our students first. Will your children see what you are doing, what is right when it matters the most? So we're just asking you to hold people accountable for betraying the trust of the teachers, retaliating against the staff, and driving away experienced educators. Or you can continue to evade the responsibility to our community who elected you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen Else?
Hi, I'm Jen Els. I'm a teacher here at the high school, and I'm now the president of BEA since Ashley Pearson had resigned. First of all, thank you all for speaking on so many difficult things. I want to say a couple of things. BEA is very happy with our contract. We really felt a huge sigh of relief. We felt like we were going forward with the district into a new school year with a lot of positivity. We felt strong, we felt well compensated, and we were ready to go and do our jobs as we always do. But this time it felt, it just being well compensated feels really, really different. This school year started out rough, unexpectedly rough, disappointingly rough. There's been like the administrators were talking about, everybody has different jobs, and alluded to the fact that teachers weren't really part of those decisions being made, and that harkened back to things that happened in May. And so here we are. Amanda, thank you for clarifying that our signing that contract was not going to break the district. After the last board meeting, there was a sense that it was going to be problematic because of our contract. And I had been reassured by our superintendent that that wasn't true. So thank you so much for saying that. There's a lot to unpack, but I only have 3 minutes. I requested a spot on the agenda for the BEA at this meeting. And we have a lot to talk about back and forth. Doing this, there's no back and forth. It's just words. I'd requested a spot for the BEA so that we could all ask questions, so that you could ask us questions, so that we could talk back and forth. We were denied that spot by the chair. I'm not sure why. I asked for reasonings and I didn't hear back why. They said that what we wanted to talk about was better suited to this venue, this public comment section. Okay. The BEA is not simply a member of the public. We are the certified representative of the district staff. We have a different status than anyone else at public comment. We are the backbone of these schools. Our request for an agenda item was to ensure that our concerns about climate workload and impact on students are given proper attention as part of board business. Board business directly affecting staff and students belongs on the agenda, not tacked on at the end as a 3-minute comment. At the June meeting, several staff members spoke during public comment section. And after the meeting, we asked, how can we have a back and forth about this? Because we were so disappointed that we spoke with so much information that was so important to the future of our schools and all of our well-being. And we felt like we had no response. And we still haven't really gotten the response that we needed from that June meeting. Might have been May, June meeting. AJ encouraged us to get on the agenda item, but become an agenda item, request to be an agenda item, then you can have the back and forth. So we went through those avenues and didn't get to it. We need everyone at the table. We need to speak back and forth. We're committed to working in good faith with the board, and we believe that transparency and open discussion at the board table are the key to building that trust and collaboration we want for our schools. I think that's all for now.
Mr. Hahn.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Hahn. I'm a social studies teacher here at high school, and I'm speaking on behalf of members of the Abandoned Educators Association. Recently, we requested a spot on today's agenda, hoping to discuss the significant issues and concerns we have regarding the administration of our school district and its impacts on our staff, parents, and most importantly, our students. BEA had desired an open and public dialogue regarding these issues at this meeting. However, we were denied this opportunity in an email from the school board chair and subsequent email asking why was not responded to, and instead instructed to sign up for public comment section of this meeting. This is unfortunate because a simple statement void of the opportunity of the board to respond or ask questions is not sufficient to effectively resolve the significant issues in our district. 3 minutes is simply not enough. As such, we formally, the union, request a special meeting with the entire school board, our superintendent, and the members of the Abandoned Educators Association. Further, we request that this meeting be open to the public and dedicated to conversing about these issues. We further request that the conversation be recorded and made public so as to avoid any misunderstandings. It would be preferable for this to occur in the next 2 weeks. And we request that this statement be made part of the official meeting minutes. Thank you.
Mrs. Dodrell.
Hi, my name is Sue Dodrell. I'm a retired teacher of 37 years from the Bannon School District plus 2 others. I am here to support Shauna in the vote of lack of confidence. Shauna has worked hard to ensure that our district has carried over funds for the next few years, while other districts are having to have major cuts because of lack of funds. She has worked hard to utilize funds that came available for our district. Past superintendents have not done this and left funds on the table and have had to be returned. Shauna has made sure that the programs are not cut, even if that meant moving teachers around where needed to make sure the students' needs were met. Students come first. During my years of teaching, I have taught K through 5th grades. If there was a need that arose, I was moved. I looked forward to these moves so I can see the growth of our students, learn the new curriculum, and kept teaching from getting stale. In each grade change, I got to experience fun of these grades and the students. I got to experience different field trips, did jogathons, putting on plays, cooking venison stew, teaching students dance routines at halftime, and many more. I have continued to be involved with the students in the band in this district. Dance team, proms, dances, fundraisers, volunteering in my grandchildren's kids' classes and other teachers' classes. I am now subbing as an aide. Going into education is a gift that should be not overlooked. The one thing that I stressed with my students that every action has a consequence, whether it is bad or good. I am asking you to think about losing Shauna as our superintendent. Having to pay out her contract and paying for another superintendent seems like one of the bad consequences among others. I am totally in support of all of our administrators. And I would like to thank you for doing what is necessary for our students and our district. Thank you.
Amber Burke.
Hi, name's Amber Berg. I'm just here to discuss communication. Just tagging on to what others have said in that communication with the board has been abysmal. I know that you guys now all have your own emails, which is great when they're responded to or at least acknowledged that they were received. I sent an email requesting some clarification on a decision that was been made. I sent it to each and every one of the board members, and I took me coming back a week later and saying, hey, I sent an email. Could somebody this acknowledge it was here? And I got zip. A day later, I get one board member acknowledge that I had sent the email. And then finally, I got a response to what I said. The response that I got from the board chair didn't actually respond to the question that I had asked. I had specifically asked for someone to show me one particular thing in the board bylaws, and we don't need to get into specifics as to what that was, but I just wanted to understand. It wasn't from being aggressive. It wasn't from me trying to cause trouble. I just want to understand what the process is and where the issue that I was talking about fit in. And when I got the email back, the tone was less than pleasant, and it did not answer the question I had, which is, could someone please show me where this is? What I got was, if you'd like to know where this thing is, please let me know. I already asked you. I already asked where it was. I just needed somebody to respond and say, hey, if you look over here at this page, at this article, on this thing, then you'll understand why we did what we did. But that's not what I got in return. It's important for the board to remember that you are all elected officials and your constituency is here right now. And when we're trying to communicate with you, we're trying to understand why things are happening. And people have addressed the fact that this has been done in silence. There have been things that have been done quietly, that there have been problems with communication. I applaud the fact that that's being acknowledged now and hope that that's going to change. But I have to say that it's common courtesy that when someone sends an email, even if you're not prepared to respond to what was being said in that email, to say, hey, got your email. Give me 7 days, give me 2 weeks, give me a month. I need to look at this. But to send it out to how many people? Was it 7 of you? and not have a response or even acknowledgement is unacceptable. We are the people that hired you, and it is important that you remember that. We're not going away. We have questions. You guys say you want parents who are involved. We're here. We're asking questions. We're asking for you to pay attention to our questions and respond. And I don't think that's too much to ask. We're not going away. You have a full house here. And there's a lot of people that will be coming at you with a lot of emails and a lot of questions. And I hope that you all will be much better at responding than you were to mine. That's all.
Jessica?
I'm Jessica Markham Brink. I'm a parent in the district. And I've been hearing a lot of people talk about declining enrollment in schools. And I'd like to understand, you know, how you plan for the students that you're going to have the next year. Do you have an intention enrolls that you do? How do you plan for that? Number one. And number two, I'd like to understand better how many of the local kids in our school district are just leaving our school district and doing online programs or doing some kind of homeschooling or moving out of our community. And I'd like to see our district move towards having better communication with the families and the communities and the teachers, supporting the teachers, so that we don't have families who are leaving to get away from the drama. Thank you.
Zoe?
Good evening, everyone. I think you know me well by now. This is, I think, triple header for me, the last 3 meetings. What some of you may not know, my dad was Bill Bradbury. He served Oregon for over 30 years in public office. He was a state legislator. He was also Secretary of State, and he was a real champion of democracy. Thanks to him, we have vote by mail. You can all be appreciative of that when your ballot arrives in your inbox, your mailbox, instead of having to go to a ballot box and leave work. And his dedication to Oregon and to democracy really showed me the importance of civic engagement. And that is why I'm standing here again for the 3rd time. When he died unexpectedly 2 years ago, his memorial was attended by 4 Oregon governors and countless elected officials from both sides of the aisle. And they were there because they loved and respected him for his integrity that he brought to public service. He was a man who he did the right thing, and he held himself to the highest standard of ethics because he believed it was essential to a healthy and fair democracy. Unfortunately, I think if my dad could be here with us today in this school district where his 2 beloved granddaughters are students, I think he would be worried. Not only because of all the concerns raised by parents and teachers this evening, but because of the growing pattern of favoritism, nepotism, and complicity within the district. I have questions about how Mr. Dockery, our high school principal, can hire his own wife as the new speech and debate teacher. I know that Oregon Chapter 244 prohibits the public official from interviewing, employing, or supervising a member of their own household, unless that person complies with the conflict of interest requirements. So absent any specific policy, the principal cannot legally be his wife's boss. So I have a question to the board. Is there a policy in place? Does the district have a policy to address some of these concerns, these growing concerns in the community about nepotism, about hiring friends, about going on vacation with board members? And I think that is probably the thing that my dad would be most worried about in this room. The fact that there are 2 board members who are very, very close friends with the superintendent. Their relationship is well known, it's well documented. And I think that we all hope that the district staff can work well together as a team. But this close fraternity raises red flags, particularly at a moment when trust in the district is at an all-time low. There is a phenomenon that is known as board member complicity. It happens when board members prioritize protecting the superintendent over their governance duties. School board members are expected to serve as objective overseers of the school district.
to represent the interests of the whole community, and to ensure that the superintendent is held accountable. But when board members shield the superintendent from scrutiny, it undermines that accountability and their credibility. And I feel like our experience as parents trying to contact the board, not receiving responses or receiving very vague responses that are pretty unsatisfying, makes it feel that way. Like we're not getting through. There is a cadre of people protecting. So I believe that we are dealing with some of that in this room. And I think that if my dad were here, all 6'4" of him, he wouldn't mince words. He would point out that there is right and there is wrong. And the right thing to do in this moment, if you are a board member and a close friend of the superintendent, is to recuse yourself from all board deliberations and votes pertaining to the superintendent. It's time to do your job and to do it with integrity.
Corey, Cody, Stewart. I'm sorry, I can't read the. I'm sorry, can you tell me your name?
Corey Stewart.
Corey Stewart. Oh,
Good evening. I just want to thank all of our democratically elected board members, and I know some of you from the hallways and everything else. I have 3 kids in the Bandon School District. I have 1 kid at each school now, which is terrifying. I don't like, I've been to one other of these meetings and I really didn't like the way it felt. I've been through one other in another, before we moved here, I've been through another school district shakeup, restructure, whatever you want to call it. It was horrible. It was kind of the same. It felt the same. It was kind of in closed rooms. Nobody really knew why they did it. And, you know, what it feels like to me is that what has happened is that there have been things that weren't broken, that were working well, that were purposely broken and moved around and in an experimental way. And so to me, I've seen it happen before and it just doesn't work. And I have, my grandfather was an educator, my grandmother was an educator for their entire lives. I deeply respect educators and personally, I can count on one hand the educators that really changed my life when I was having a hard time or didn't know which direction to go, or I was trying to find my voice in school and or just find out who I was. And it's very important to have these connections and to have teachers that are confident in their positions. They're happy to be here and they're proud to be part of Bandon School District. And I don't think that an environment that has been created this semester, this year has this, I just think it's off to a horrible start. And I appreciate that, you know, I make mistakes every day. Out at my job, and I appreciate when people own up to making mistakes. And I just hope that moving forward throughout this year, we can focus more on the kids. Because I think at the end of every single one of these decisions, the last thing that the board and you guys should be asking yourself is this the best thing for the children? And it's easier said than done, I know. But another thing that I've actually in my own life I've been thinking about lately, and it's so applicable to so many things, is that resiliency is more important than efficiency. We need to be able to weather whatever happens to this district, and politically, whatever, it doesn't matter what side you're on. It's like we all have kids that have, they are like, this is their world. I mean, they spend more time here than they do anywhere else. And if it doesn't feel right, or if they can sense that their teacher doesn't want to be doing what they're doing, that's a really big problem. They need to be able to go to their teacher as an expert in whatever they're teaching and know that they're the authority on that, and it needs to be real and factual and not like, objective. They need to be able to make up their own minds. And that's just, it doesn't feel like that type of environment has been maintained or created. And I love walking into the schools here. I love seeing all the smiles. I love Ocean Crest is so amazing. I love how old I just love old schools. And, you know, nothing's perfect. I mean, I'm a believer in public school. And I just think that, you know, we need to keep public school just, we need to maintain its integrity. And there was a school where we moved from, and I will never forget it. And it was the school that the district shut it down. It was a really good program. It was a dual immersion school, but on the outside of the school, there was a quote, and it said, "Above mind and above body stands character." And if as board members, as administrators, as teachers, as kids, if we're not conducting ourselves in public or with each other as part of this district, with good character and openly with each other and work, I mean, as I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, but like, this is so important to me because like, we're not leaving, like leaving is not an option. And like, this is the best option for my kids in their future right now, I feel, is to bring them to school here in Bandon. And it's not easy. It's a big, big sacrifice. And I don't think it's being taken. I don't think it's being taken seriously. I think the decisions have been made hastily, and I don't want to draw any conclusions. I don't know any of you very well, but I just don't like the way it feels. And I'm going to keep coming to these meetings because I want to know more, and I want to be involved. And my kids love learning. They want to learn. I'm really lucky to have them. They're amazing. And we're lucky to have you guys here doing this. And I want to thank everybody that's here. And I share Zoe's, I share all of, you know, there's some major issues here that obviously need to be worked out. And I hope that we can redeem these moving forward. And just like start making it feel better in here. Because right now it doesn't feel good. So thanks. That's all I got. And thank you.
One last, Barry Winters.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good to see everybody here. I want to thank the board. I've been there on the board. Big pay for you guys. Zero. Volunteer, put in tons of time, lots of time. I want to thank Sean and your staff. What you guys are doing is excellent. I want to thank all the staff. I want to thank the teachers. I want to see you get together, work things out, not come in with big demands, and put things back together. I've been associated, my mom went to school here. She started school here in 1929. She went all through school. She had 4 kids. We all went through Bandon High School. I had 2 kids they went through. I now have great grandkids in the school, and I probably spend more time in the gym than anybody in this room. I go to the gym and the football field in September, get out in March. I've been doing that for 38 years. I do it for the kids. I've watched many superintendents in that 38 years, many teachers in that 38 years, and many principals, and lots of athletic directors. We've got a great staff. And if you need to get together and work out something, you need to get together and work out. And not come in with demands and say, you gotta do this, you gotta fire somebody. You gotta sit down and work it out. Because we've got great people in this room, all of you.
Well, they didn't give me a seat at the table.
Yeah, right, but you could keep trying, you'll get a seat. You know, it's always, you'll work it out. Sit down and talk, you can work it all out. I see you grinning and laughing. Demands, get nowhere, working out, sit down and be adults. Show our kids that we have nothing but adults helping them. Our kids are what we're here for. That's why we go to the gym. That's why we spent 38 years in this, announcing, doing what we feel that the kids, we can do whatever we can to help. I love it when I see kids 5, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later, and they come up and thank me for being an announcer. it just makes my heart feel good. But I do it for those kids. I want them to feel everything. That's what these people are here for. That's what your board's here. They're here for kids. That's what you teachers are in the school for. It's for the kids. Well, let's go. Let's get Bandon Pride going. Tiger Pride.
Thank you, Eric. All right, it is time to adjourn. I would like to call for the motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second,
Second, I guess. Would be great.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Claudia Dobney, you still on there?
I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, welcome back. Class of 1969, Claudia Dobney. I looked up the names today. I thought I was going to see you here tonight. No, I still look like.
Okay.
Fine.
Now you did.
I love those.
No.
I have to.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Real deal Holyfield right
Oh,
there,
yeah.
AJ.
You're on it.
I like it.
Hey, what?
You did, you changed.
Now I need to find.
The record that I have. Get in the way.
You know what it is? Prepare, get some, it's maybe slowly. AJ, I took I dumped the wrapper and like, I need.
Oh, I love.
You just make me like.
Oh, it's
The wrapper in the bottom of my bag when I get home.
I'll find your.
Thanks for doing this.
Very good.
Very good.
Back on the road.